Hi all, welcome to Diversified Finance. So in this video, we're going to discuss what Labour government means for housing affordability. So this is kind of like the part two video. I've already done a video about how the Labour housing affordability policy would act on the housing market. And people asked me like few questions. So I thought I would do like another video just to explain it a little bit further. So this is the labor plan. So let's say you are an individual earning less than 90K or a couple earning less than 120K in Sydney, right? So this is like in Sydney Metro, Sydney CBD, Greater Sydney area. If that's the case, if you're a first home buyer, the government will support 40%. There'll be the government support up to 40% of the house that you're going to purchase. But there's a catch, which is the house that you are planning to buy has to be less than $950,000, right? So the cap, as you can see here, the property price cap varies by region from 400K up to 950. So if it's in the greater region of Sydney, it has to be less than 950,000, and you could be earning less than 90K. If you're a couple, it has to be less than 120K. So it's pretty obvious, like, average salary in Sydney, it's somewhere near like 90 to 100K, right? So most of the couples are definitely earning more than 120K, right? Somewhere above like 150 to closer to like 200K or so. So most of the high paying individuals or couples would not be eligible for this policy, right? But I think they are targeting people, let's say like only husband works, right? And wives just like a stay at home mom, she doesn't work. If that's the case, if the father is earning less than 90K, let's say he's earning like 80K, so he'll be eligible for this housing scheme, right? So this is it's a good thing when it comes to housing affordability. But because of this, I'm expecting housing market. Say, for example, if someone's trying to sell, like if an investor trying to sell 1.2 or $1.1 million property in a hurry, right? Let's say he's in a hurry, he could not find any tenants, and he doesn't want to pay the mortgage, like two mortgages, including his own place where he lives. If that's the case, if he tries to sell it for like 1.1, 1.2, if someone wants to buy that house, he has to borrow 100%, like there'll be no government support. But if he lower that selling price to 950,000, then there'll be a lot of people who are eligible. There'll be high more demand if he drops the price to 950K, because the people can buy it with government support, right? So if it's an existing house, so in this scenario I'm talking about an existing house, then government would pay only up to 30%. If it's a brand new house, the government would pay will pay up to 40%. So as you can see here, 40% for brand new houses and 30% for established, like, existing houses. And you need only like 2% deposit. So this is very easy for someone within this income cap to borrow and purchase a house. So that's a good thing. So what this would do, so as I mentioned earlier, like 1.1, 1.2 mil property will probably drop towards like 950. I remember someone just called me, like probably he watched my last video, and then he questioned, does it mean like $3 million property gonna drop down to like 950? No, I don't think it's gonna happen, because that's way too high. And if you compare a $3 million property to $1 million property, $950,000 property, it's not going to be the same, right? So for 3 million, it could be like like a way better house compared to $1 million property. but within the range, like maybe 300,000 above this level, right? Even like 1.5, if the seller is desperate, he might have to lower it down to 950. Right? I mean, for 1.1, definitely you'll probably be able to get it for 950, right? Because people will, I'm expecting people, sellers to, if sell their property, like it could be a most likely an investment property for like 950, because they know when they lower the price, it'll be easy to sell because there'll be a lot of support and there'll be a lot of people could afford to buy that property with government support. On the other side, apartments, let's say someone's trying to sell his apartment for like 800,000. Because of this policy, he could put the price all the way up to 950, because he know as long as he's not gonna go above 950,000, he would be able to. There'll be a lot of demand for that property, that first-home buyers come and buy it at 950 with government support. So because of this reason, I'm expecting apartment sector. As we know, for the past 4 to 5 years, we've seen like a massive gap compared to housing market to apartments and units. There's a massive gap in between, right? Nobody wants to buy apartments, and then we've seen massive demand for housing, just for like housing sector. So because of this policy, I'm expecting like maybe in 12 to 18 months, I'm expecting to see apartment prices to like probably go back up. So this could be like a recovery for apartment sector, given that it has been struggling for the past 3-4 years. Like if you're trying to sell your apartment unit, like you've been struggling, but this, because of this property price cap at 950, I'm talking about in Sydney, right? And greater Sydney area, apartment prices there'll be like a recovery for apartment prices. So if you are if you are someone who holds, say, apartments, so if you have an investment property which is apartment, this is good news for you. You don't need to sell it in a hurry right now. Wait for like maybe 6 to 12 months and see how this policy will work out. And then I'm expecting apartment price to pick up, like I mean, when someone increase the price for apartment from 800 to 950, then you're looking at $400,000 apartment, selling for like 550 to 500,000. So this is a recovery. I definitely believe like this will happen. Like I mean, still it's I could be wrong, but this is what I believe that might happen. So this is a really good news for apartment and unit holders. There's a recovery on the way. Apartment prices will go a lot higher as long as it's less than 950,000. So that's that. And then these are the New South Wales and regional centers. So any New South Wales and regional centers, the price cap is 950,000, right? And regional New South Wales would be 600,000. So if it's not New Sydney or New South Wales regional, then you're looking at the price cap drop to like 600,000. Greater Sydney, 950. For Melbourne, Greater Melbourne, Victoria Regional Centres, 850,000. Regional, 550. And for Queensland, 500,000. Adelaide, 550. Regional, South Australia, like 400,000. Perth, Greater Perth will be 550,000. Regional, Western Australia will be like 400,000. ACT 600,000 and NT 550. So there's more additional information depending on which state you live. So that's over there. And then this is something important as well. So regional first home buyer support scheme, the government provides a deposit guarantee for regional home buyers with a deposit of at least 5%, 10,000 spots. Income cap, 150K for individuals, 200,000 for couples. So as you can see, compared to Sydney, right, Greater Sydney, regional areas, the income cap is higher. So basically, it seems like they're asking people to move away from this Sydney CBD, Greater Sydney, because we have there's overcrowded, like for example, Sydney, Melbourne, like, you know, these cities are overcrowded. So basically they're trying to push people away from CBDs, like especially Sydney and Melbourne. And let's say you're a couple earning more than 200,000. And if you move to regional areas, you probably be eligible, because the income cap for regional first home buyers is a lot higher compared to Sydney, Greater Sydney and Greater Melbourne, or in mostly in other states as well. Like, if you willing to go away from major cities, then they you probably be eligible, even if you are earning 180,000 combined salary, 200,000 combined salary for couple, 120K for individuals. So you can see the message, like, you know, the government is probably asking people to, like, you know, move away from these major cities. And also property price cap for regional first home buyers would be somewhere near 350K up to 800,000. So that's even cheaper, right? So 40% of 800K, you know, that'll be really good. You'll be borrowing very, very less money, and it would be really affordable, especially if you are a couple earning, let's say, 150K, right? Right, and then 40% of 800 if it's a brand new house, 40%, 30% if it's an existing house. Even if you buy an existing house, there'll be 30% government support for $800,000 property, right? And then if you're earning this much of money, you probably be able to, like, you know, pay a lot easier, like, you know, a lot quicker. So that's something we need to keep an just to remind, like, you know, keep an eye on. I know, because everybody wants to live in Sydney, closer to Sydney CBD, Melbourne CBD, closer to these cities, right? But looks like government asking people to go away from these cities. So that's the message they're trying to convey. So yeah, and then restricted to owner occupier buyers who haven't previously owned a property and have been living in the region for at least 12 months. Commences from January 2023. Yeah, so that's, we probably have like this is like 6 months away. But if you look at over here, yeah, so this has already started, like commences from July 20. I mean, it's about to, I mean, it will start like in a month. So this is June. So in 30 days or so, this will come in. So we have to wait and see how it will pan out. Yeah, I'm expecting anywhere about 950, like 1.1, 1.2. These prices will drop down to 950. Okay, so we'll see a lot of prices. A lot of sellers are trying to sell their property, especially in Sydney, closer to Sydney CBD, Greater Sydney area. We'll see a lot of sellers trying to sell their property for like 950K. And it's a good this is a good news for apartment or unit holders. They would probably be able to finally, like, you know, sell their apartment or unit for a profit or for like higher price, because of this new Labor government housing affordability scheme, where you probably, if it's a new house, 40%. If it's an existing house, maybe 30% from government backed. Okay, that's just a quick video regards to housing affordability policy by Labor government. I'll talk to you in the next video. Thank you. See ya.